Okay, everybody, this isn't a dream. The Rip City Roundtable podcast is back. This is not a rerun. I've been gone for a minute. For a good excuse, a good reason. You know, your host here, Corey Dickman. I was gone. My wife and I had our second child, a little baby girl, Charlotte. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, and Adrian's here as well. Adrian Bernecich is here, but. Charlotte was born January 24th, in the middle of a winning streak for the Blazers that probably will never be remembered again. But she came into this earth, and she's doing well. Mom's doing well. She's doing well. Her dad very tired, but he's doing okay. So I've been gone. I'm so sorry, everybody. But I've been watching games.
That's a legitimate excuse. Congrats.
Thank you. I was telling Adrian. Our managing editor, Dave, I don't think he even knew about it because I just kept covering. I was doing the extended analysis after games, and I just hold the baby or have her in her little those little vibrating chairs, Adrian, where they can just kind of sit or whatever. And, But, she took in a lot of, I'll say good Blazer basketball. It was good Blazer basketball, but it was a lot of, maybe unnecessary wins or something, but we'll dive into it.
She was born into a summer of Blazers wins.
Into a summer of wins. So,
well, summer for me, winter for you.
There you go. But yeah, man, that's what's been going on. I want to catch up with you, Adrian. We were supposed to do this last week, and it was my first week back kind of at work. And I was just catching up, and I was not able to record with you. But I wanted to touch base on this Adrian's angle that you did that came out February 8th. So this was, about 10 days ago. Yeah. And it was a great piece because I feel like it touched on where most Blazer fans are probably at, true fans, is this dilemma we found ourselves in because the Blazers ripped off this, we'll call it a winning streak, even though there was a loss to OKC, to Oklahoma City in there, which was a road game. And the Blazers actually were in the game really until the end. But we had won 9 out of 10, I think is what it was, Adrian.
I think it was 10 of 11.
10 of 11. And I have this pulled up. So we lost to Houston. I'm trying to find the date. We lost to Houston on Saturday, January 18th. Okay. We, at that time, the Blazers were 13-28. Okay. Right there in the mix with Washington, New Orleans, Utah, vying for that, worst. Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte, worst 3 records in the league with our best chance at Cooper Flag. And then after that game, we just rip off, like you said, 10 of 11. And by the end of it, we find ourselves closer basically to the play-in than we were the lottery. And you then came out with this angle. And you said the title of it was "The Blazers Should Avoid the Play-In Like the Plague." It's brilliant. You had 282 comments on this thing, which was so much, more than you had it here. I'm looking at the last 11. So talk to me about why you wrote it and why you think it did speak to probably most Rip City Blazer fans.
I mean, the Blazers have been losing for 3 or 4 years now. It's been a slog. It's been hard. But there's been purpose to it. There are other franchises that just lose because they're just poorly run, bad franchises. I mean, they get their high draft picks, but they perennially lose and don't build good culture and don't build this. Don't even kind of sniff contention. The reason the Blazers have been doing this is to get that next cornerstone piece, so they can go back to the playoffs, and not just go back to the playoffs, but be contenders. For me, the fact that they were winning while it was enjoyable, it was cringe because it was cringeworthy because, as I've been saying all year, for them to try and make the playoffs this season would have been malpractice. They still don't have their guy. They still don't have their guy. And for them to do all the hard work over the past 3 years and then just give up on the tank now would have been – I'm not going to say it would have made the past 3 years redundant, but it's kind of a slap in the face. They only have to do it for 2 more months. 2 more months, and they don't even have to get Cooper Flagg. They can get Dylan Harper. They can get Ace Bailey. But it's a completion. They need to complete it.
They do.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk about the trade deadline here in a second, but like they go with this starting lineup of basically during this 10 out of 11 wins. And sorry, the OKC game was in Portland. That's my fault.
It was in
Portland. I said it was a road game. My apologies.
Yeah.
Ayton at the center, Jeremy basically at the 4, Denny at the 3, Tumani and Simons as your starting guards, and moving Sharp. Yeah, big lineup. And then moving Sharp and Scoot basically coming off the bench. And really Denny was your point guard, right? And then everyone kind of went around him because he really had the ball.
I still think Ant was the point guard.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, I think Denny's a secondary facilitator. I think Ant was still, strictly speaking, the point guard, and he hasn't been too bad at that.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
Yeah,
but they basically ran this lineup during that whole time, and it like consistently. They had time to gel. They defensively
best defense in the league.
Best defense in the league during that time. They're incredible, controlling the pace. And it's like, oh no, like now we see kind of what maybe could have, like the team on paper, what could have been if everyone kind of had been healthy or not like scratches. And I'm going to do quotations there. I think Chauncey, for whatever reason, they just like, all right, let's get, and this lineup was consistent and the bench was consistent and the defense was there. And look, then you run 10 out of 11. However, Adrian, then I'll say this, then I'll let you chime in. This is just typical Blazers because we go through the stretch here. Okay. It starts with the Bulls, not really a playoff team. The Heat were a mess. The Magic, I think maybe we didn't have Paolo in that first one. I know we played.
So Paolo and Franz played, but Suggs was out.
Yeah. Charlotte, enough said. The Bucks, that we just have that, like Lillard can't. There's something when they play us, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. They've got the goods. They've got the goods on Milwaukee.
Got the goods. So Milwaukee, okay. Orlando again. All right, we win that game. And then the 2 interesting ones where I was like, personally, because I covered the first one of these, I think, was like when we played Phoenix on the back-to-back or the home and home one. I thought, okay, even though Phoenix is kind of a mess, we're gonna lose to Phoenix, right? They had that first game that they rolled everybody out there. We win, and then we win again. We beat Phoenix twice. The second one in overtime. Then Indiana.
The second one possibly is one of the better wins of the year because of that. Because of that, I reckon.
Yes, and honestly, there was a defensive mistake. I remember in the end of the regulation where we like gave them an open 3 to tie it.
They collapsed the D.
Yeah. Indiana, we beat them. The Kings, who were I'm trying to remember if they had Zach LaVine at this point.
Not only did they beat the Pacers were the hottest defensive team in the league as well, leading into that game as well.
And didn't Halliburton have like
0?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Tumani.
Tumani. The Kings, and then kind of came back down to earth. We lose the Timberwolves, and then we lose to Jokic twice. But so that team, it's like that stretch, although 10 out of 11, and the defense is what stands out. It's not like we were ripping off wins against the Celtics and the Knicks and OKC and, and obviously the Nuggets, and we lose to them. Like, so it's like, man, was it a mirage? I think probably that's where you were getting at with this article, right? It's like, we need to stick to the plan because this isn't going to carry us to a championship this year.
Well, right. I mean, and in that piece, I draw a parallel with 2015-16. So
what happened in that year? What happened that year, Adrian?
For that,
or before.
I'm sure everyone remembers back, but LaMarcus Aldridge decides to take his talents to San Antonio. Neil O'Shea trades Batum to Charlotte. Wes Matthews walks to Dallas. Robin Lopez goes to New York.
Chicago? Or did he go there later? No, maybe New York.
I think he goes to New York. Anyway, so the rebuild happens. We've got Noah Vonleh, we've got Mo Harkless, we've got the Chief. And that what happens? That team is expected to make the lottery. Second round of the playoffs. Yeah. Oh no, we've got a contender here. Let's build on this. Let's give Evan Turner $70 million. Let's give
Alan Crabb and Turner.
Myers Leonard. Let's and what happens? They fast track the rebuild and they miss out on 2 or 3 years of high lottery picks.
Yeah.
And who comes out of the lottery through that period? Donovan Mitchell.
Is that Jason Tatum during that time?
I think Tatum was 15.
Was he 17?
Yeah.
17 maybe?
And then you've got Luka, and then you've got all these young and what happens? Damian doesn't contend because they don't have the requisite talent around him.
Yeah.
And you can't get requisite talent from the teens and the 20s in the draft.
No, you're right, man. No, and we were talking before we started that LaMarcus, like him walking that summer, just set us back. I mean, you don't see that now. You'll at least get a sign and trade. Like at least there's always that sometimes, and the team gets something in return. He just straight up left. Your best player, he was our best player, just goes off and just leaves. And it's like, oh.
Yeah. But the irony in the whole, the comparison between the two situations is you had your star, you had Lillard. You didn't have the supporting cast. Now you've got a pretty good supporting cast, I reckon, with Arvin and Tamani and Shaden. You've got a really good supporting cast. You don't have the star.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the reverse of the situation. So they need the star, and they can't do that if they're selecting in the teams.
No.
And I know we like to win. There's only 2 more months. There's 2 more months to go. And then you can focus on winning as much as you want in 25, 26. They just need to kind of just bite the bullet and just stick it out.
Well, what do you remember? What were the Hawks' chances of getting the first pick last draft?
So they had the 10th worst record, and I think it was 2%. It was in the 2% range, but we shouldn't rely on that. Like that, I think I had a look over the past since the odds have changed.
Yeah,
only the Hawks and the Pelicans have gotten it from outside the top 3 worst records, and
that's it. And everybody else has been in the top.
Yeah.
Or bottom 5, I guess.
You can't expect to get it from the 10th worst record. And look, at this point, they're probably the best they can do is the 6th worst record. But again, they could be playing everyone tonight against the Lakers. So, and now LeBron and Luka are out. So,
they both sitting tonight?
Well, LeBron's questionable, but I mean, this will probably go out after that game. But
that's true. Yeah. To let everybody, we're recording this Thursday, the 20th here, February, but the game is tonight against the Lakers. Okay, Adrian, let's look. Okay, so Washington 9-45. They probably got that locked down as the worst team.
Yep.
Then New Orleans and Utah both have 13 wins, 41-42 losses. Charlotte, we'll put Charlotte there too at 14-39.
Yep.
But then you have like Toronto at 17 or 38 losses, Brooklyn at 34, Philly at 34. Chicago at 33 and Portland at 32. And then it jumps up to San Antonio. But really, that's that group, Adrian. We could slide to, what did you say, 6?
So the Raptors have one of the easiest schedules left as well.
Oh, okay.
And all those East teams have to play each other. So and honestly, like Portland still has to play Boston twice.
Yeah.
They still have to play the Cavs. They still have to play Toronto twice. So, but I think 6th is still in reach. I think 7th is probably where it ends up. I think they end up with the 7th worst record.
Okay. But and that gives us like a 6% chance.
I think so. At Cooper, I think if you finish with the 6th worst record, you get a 9% chance at the first pick.
Okay. All right.
So
Hey, 9%. I'll take 9. I'll take 9. I would have preferred, 12, 12 and a half or
well,
whatever.
the top three worst get 14%.
Oh,
So
14. Okay, 14.
but I mean, I think that extends out to like if you finish with the sixth worst, you still get a 30% chance at a top 3 pick.
Sure.
So,
Okay. Well,
Dylan Harper, the two Rutgers guys are still there.
yeah.
I don't know about Edgecombe. He reminds me too much about Scoot. Too much of Scoot, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I'm biased to VJ, but I would say, yeah, it's a little redundant. I don't think Edgecombe would be the guy. I don't think we would. I don't know what else you do in that spot if he's available, but
I think you take Edgecombe and you move Scoot. But even in that situation,
But I was gonna say, like, you look at these, 10 wins out of 11, and obviously the wins is not what they were getting exciting. I'll admit I was getting sucked into. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, what else is standing out during this period besides the defense? And Scoot really, this has been his finest stretch of basketball of his career. And Adrian, I mean, don't you think we can build on that? Do you think there's something here now?
Look, he's proving me wrong because I mean, six weeks ago, I wrote a piece about potentially sticking with Simons. So I'm eating humble pie. I still don't think he's an all-star. I don't think he's an all-star. I think he'll be a good player. But he's not the cornerstone. And I don't think anyone can argue that at the moment.
I wish because there was a game, it was like his, like 38 points or what was his big game where he hit 8 threes, right?
Oh, yeah, no, that was, I can't remember who it was against.
Yeah, I can't remember. My whole take, and then the next game he comes back off the bench, and I think I wanted to fire Chauncey right then and there because I wanted to be like, look, you get this guy a starting spot, he produces. What are we doing? Let him keep going, and then you yank him back onto the bench again, and then we get all these wins. But it's like, I'm telling you, Adrian, I'm not ready to say one way or the other until this guy starts 50 games in a row. Like, we don't know what we have. I think it's an incomplete grade right now on Scoot. Until
I agree. I agree. I'd like to see how he goes when he's facing defensive coverages, the same defensive coverages that Simons gets, because if other teams are guarding Simons like they are Scoot, Simons is going for 50 every night. Like Simons is getting attention every single night. Scoot isn't getting as much attention because he hasn't proved it.
Sure. And teams are still like, hey, you shoot that. Like,
they're sagging off him.
They're sagging off. Where Simons and his body language, I think Simons, that's been my thing all year with Simons, is I just felt like something was off. Like he's just missing open threes. He's been engaged during this.
He's been great.
Yeah, he's been great. He has been. And so I just think, and Shaden, you demote him or whatever you want to call it, a demotion to the bench. Yeah. I feel like he responded. He didn't. He's not like disengaged. He's still in it. In my opinion.
I know why Chauncey did it, and clearly the defensive first lineup works. And I think it's probably been a good idea. But I think down the stretch, when they hopefully rest some of the vets, Shaden should get as much burn as possible. Mm-hmm. But again, Joe Cronin said at his post-deadline press conference, go for it. Go for the plan, which made me cringe. I cringed.
He was like, what did he say? Like, these guys deserve it. These guys,
I'm not going to stop them.
It was awful. I enjoy having you on for multiple reasons, Adrian, but I know we're aligned in this. Like we just need to lose games, right? Steve DeWald, who comes on the pod, he's of the same ilk as well. And
he's my boy.
I really, up to this deadline, and I don't know, maybe you have some inside stuff, but like up to this deadline, I feel like Joe Cronin to me had done really well, in my opinion. His lack of, and whatever the reasons were, I think this is one of the worst performances of a Blazers general manager. I'm sorry. How do you not figure out a way to move some of these guys? Like even Charlotte, I know some of their stuff was got rescinded or whatever because of physicals. But it's like, just start getting rid of people. I don't.
Yeah, but
Right?
you still need to maximize value. Cam Johnson didn't get moved. Everyone said Cam Johnson was going to get moved.
I think
I
think the Nets like to win. They're like us. I think they like.
I honestly think it was a buyer's market. Like I think. Look, I'm not a Joe apologist. I would have liked to have. I mean, the obvious one was Simons to Orlando, and I think Orlando are being kind of raked over the coals for not doing that deal as well. But you can't give these guys away for nothing. You can't do it. And if the deal isn't there, I mean, these guys have at least another year on their contracts. So do it in the summer. If it's going to be easy to do it in the summer, do it in the summer.
I know, but then look, we got these 10 wins. We got these 10 wins we shouldn't have had because we kept these guys.
Sit them. I mean, you don't have to trade them. Just sit them.
Okay, what would have it taken, Mr. Trade Machine, to get the Atlanta pick from San Antonio? Because hold on, the news came out today that Wemby is out for the rest of the season. Yeah. So the Spurs are like, oh baby, we want Cooper. Which if they get Cooper flag, Adrian, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I give up.
Yeah, I'm boycotting. But but prior, they make the trade. They're trying to better their team. They get Fox. They want to go for. They seem like they want to go for it. Couldn't Cronin have called him up and said, "Look, we'll give you Grant, we'll give you Simons, and we want that Atlanta first or something"? Couldn't we have gotten it?
Well, they've got too many guards now because you've got Fox, you've got Chris Paul, you've got Castle, they got rid of Trey Jones, but like they've just got a surplus. They've got Devin Vassell. They've got a surplus of guards. They don't need Simons. And they've got Harrison Barnes. I don't know whether that's – and they've got Jeremy Sohan. I don't know whether they need
we probably would have had to have taken back Barnes just for money or something.
And they love Barnes. Apparently they love Barnes.
Well, I just don't – I want to know if Joe made the call. I just want to know that he made calls.
I'm sure they did. Honestly, like that – As we know now, like the Denny Avdia trade wasn't like the thing they thought up the day of. They checked in on Denny 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
So,
and he hit on that. Denny has been the best. Denny has been the best Blazer. Like Denny is incredible. I love watching him play.
Creighton hasn't been perfect. I think his biggest stuff up has been the Gary Payton signing, and no one could have seen that. But
yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
I'm disappointed about the deadline, but I've moved on since then. I don't think it's that big a deal. Those guys can still be moved in the summer. Sit them though. Sit them. And they got City Sissoko, who I really like, the young French wing. Like Ryan Rupert can be like they can be the French connection. Those two.
Wait, when did we get him? City Sissoko?
So.
I missed it.
They waived Taze Moore on a 2A and they brought in City Sissoko, who was in the Fox trade, but he's a young French wing who's really athletic. And
then let's get them out there. Obviously, Klingon's going to be playing a ton, right? With Ayton being out.
Yep.
I mean, Ayton should not see the floor again. I would be shocked if he played a game.
In a perfect world, yes.
He can't. He can't.
I think, yeah.
You think he's going to play?
I don't know. I mean, he's out for 4 weeks, which I think he's got another 2 weeks to go. But
I know, but like let's say we lose like 7 out of 8 or something. Like,
but Joe told him to go for it. I don't know how true that is, but I think your center rotation moving forward for the rest of the season should be Klingon and Jabari Walker. That is your center rotation. Moving forward.
Yeah.
And what when
yeah. And then so I love how they've been playing Rob. So like Rob basically is healthy, but they just don't play him, right? Is that because he's suited up in these games?
Yeah,
he just doesn't get in.
I love Rob. I love Rob. But don't play him. Don't play him.
Don't play him.
Play. This should. I mean, the starting. I would sit Denny as well. I don't know how easy that's going to be, but Scoot, Shaden, Chris Murray. Insert power forward, whether it's Jabari and Klingon all the way through the rest of the season. They've done it before. They've shown that they're willing to do it. The CJ Ellaby lineups from 2 years ago were phenomenal.
I love that lineup. That was one of my favorite right there. That got the job done, Adrian. Yeah.
And they only need to do it for it's less than 2 months now.
I know.
It's less than 2 months.
As long as they sit Avdia, you're fine. Because that guy, Adrian, and I don't know if Washington fans knew this. This guy plays like it's game 7 of the finals, like every game.
But he was going to win them too many games. Like he was going to win them.
Yeah,
I mean,
too many. He's too good at drawing fouls, and he's too big. You can't.
And they need to sit Tumani. And they need to sit Tumani. And I don't know how you sit Tumani. I think that's almost impossible.
It's impossible. I just want it. I mean, there's not a world, I guess there's probably not, where Tumani wins some award. Can he win comeback player? Can he win? I guess he probably not. You've only played one other season.
The obvious one is all defense second, but I just don't think the players are good enough for that. He'll probably get votes. I don't know whether he'll get onto it. I mean, I hope he does.
Yeah.
But I just don't think
I was really hoping that his Rising Stars team would have made it through and beaten that All-Star squad, and then then Tumani played a centerpiece role. Obviously, it didn't happen though.
Was there an All-Star game recently? Was there?
There was the All-Star game last week. You did? Oh, okay. Ha ha.
I just tune out. I honestly have a break as well.
It wasn't great. You didn't miss anything, but it just would have been nice if Tumani could have somehow emerged and won the MVP or something. I don't know, but I know that was a long shot. Well, I don't know if I can forgive Joe until we find out that he literally got denied by 15 other teams and they were offering trash and he said no to all the second round picks being offered, then fine. But if he was getting nitpicky, Adrian, I don't know. I don't know if I can let that.
I honestly think if there was a trade to be done, it would have been done. I don't have any inside knowledge, but
sure.
If there was I don't think. I mean, Simons has already made it himself pretty clear that he wants to win. So I don't think anyone is kind of saying don't trade me. But I think it needs to be the right trade. You have to extract. I mean, we talk about LaMarcus and the fact that they didn't get any value from LaMarcus. You need to extract value from these guys. It's prudent to do that. So
just something, even just get money back. I know trade exceptions never really get used, but just for the sake of taking minutes away, it's it does 3 things, right? It's you at least get something in return. You get the veteran off of your team not giving you good minutes, and then you're getting the young guy minutes. It's it does 3 things.
The second 2 reasons are fine. The first 2 reasons, you can just sit them. You don't have to trade. You can just sit them.
I guess. I just feel like Charlotte was doing that. They were getting future firsts for some stuff, right? They were kind of doing it. I don't know.
If that Mark Williams trade had gone through, they would have been one of the winners of the trade deadline for me. They did well out of that. I mean, obviously with Luka, the Lakers picks aren't going to be as good, but to get an unprotected first, a swap, and Dalton Connect for Mark Williams, who's hasn't had the greatest health history, I think they did really well. They would have done really well out of that, but obviously that's kind of fallen through. So
yeah, no, for sure. I love that they win last night. They ended up beating the Lakers, which was hilarious that those 2 teams played that makeup game, and then that was the ones that had the trade
with Mark Williams playing quite well as well.
With him playing really well. Yeah. just you can't make that stuff up. But well, I hope that the rest of the season, this has been really the story of this podcast for this year is let's get some development. Let's make sure that Rob doesn't get hurt. It's always been Rob, but it's I just feel like this win streak, it reminded me that I'm still a fan because
they're great to watch. They're good fun to watch.
Yes. And I found myself rooting to be I didn't want the other team to get 100 points. I was I want to keep this defensive rating we have. Yeah. And that was fun to be engaged with. Scoot's play was fun to see. Maybe we have something there. Watching Denny play truly was a joy during this win streak. I just didn't want it to be the thing that bite us in the butt that we regret later. That's all.
I want all the city Sissoko I can handle the next 2 months. Bring on the French connection. Rupert and Sissoko.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Chauncey's like, during this streak too, we had like 8-man lineups. Like literally, Adrian, we were playing that stretch like playoff games where it was like Chris Murray was getting 4 minutes and that was it. And it was like scoot off the bench, Klingon, and then like a little bit of random minutes. Some Delano got in, not all the games, but like Chauncey, what are we doing right now? Like 7-man rotations in the middle of a season that we should be tanking? It makes no sense.
Yeah,
Adrian.
I mean, we're on the same page. It's
French connection. Okay.
French connection.
All right. Okay. Tonight we play the Lakers. You said LeBron's out. You're
questionable. Luka's out.
Luka's out. LeBron's out. Well, that's going to be a fun. I'm covering the game. That's sad because now there won't be anything to really watch, but that's fine. Let's see. Let's see what happens tonight. If this is going to be very telling for us about I think, the rest of the year.
Also, Scoot, Time Lord, and Jeremy are all questionable as well. So we're not sure whether they suit up. So perhaps if they play, then that might be an indication of what they're planning to do. If they don't play, perhaps, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Lakers, they want to get wins. I mean, it does them no good to lose. So they're going to be somewhat motivated tonight, I would think. The backups. Austin Reeves, I think, didn't he get kicked out last night?
He got tossed.
He got tossed, so maybe he should feel motivated. I don't know. It'll just be good to get some basketball back, but I'm definitely
the All-Star break's tough. It's tough for basketball fans. It's just especially the All-Star game. But it's tough to watch when you want to watch competitive basketball. But
it is. What is? Yeah. But now with football, American football, with the NFL over, I really want all of us Rip City fans, you and I, everyone else listening, like catch as much Cooper flag. Watch some Rutgers games.
Rutgers basketball,
let's get some of that in the system so that we can like see what the future could be. Right? There's so many good prospects. Catch some college basketball, and I know we want to win games, but catch some college basketball and maybe see who could be potentials. Cooper.
It'll be a bit bittersweet watching Duke and Rutgers, given that the Blazers' chances of getting those guys is diminishing. But hope. Yeah, hang on to that hope.
Hang on. Before you go, Adrian, what you got? You writing something coming out this Saturday for you, Sunday for us?
So this weekend, I'm writing on what I want to see from Donovan with Ayton out.
Beautiful. What was his last game? He had like 28 rebounds or something, or didn't he like
20 rebounds? Yeah. I think it might have been something like that. Something crazy.
It was a lot. It was a lot of rebounds. It was more than just 20, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a lot. What do you want without divulging your Adrian angle? I mean,
I don't expect him to do that every single night, but I just want him
20 rebounds. You're correct. Sorry, I was wrong. 20 rebounds. Okay, sorry.
I just want him to look more comfortable, and I want him to be able to play the minutes that we expect him to play. Like I think he needs to get his body right. I think obviously with a full off season, he can perhaps prepare himself better for his sophomore year. But just to look more comfortable out there.
Sure. I think that's the hardest part probably for any rookie that came from college basketball. Is like once they kind of broach that 30 game mark or 35 games played in the NBA, and I know Donovan's missed some games, but they're just not used to that. Some of these international guys are used to that. They're putting in a lot of games, but the college guys aren't. So no, that'd be nice. He's a big man. He lumbers. He looks like a giraffe out there a little bit. Sometimes it's unnerving.
And I mean, and you look at DeAndre, for all his faults, DeAndre can play 38, 40 minutes a night. He's a physical specimen, and he can push himself. So I mean, you've got to give him credit for being able to kind of play those big minutes.
When Ayton, he to me is like the definition of when that guy tries, he's like unbeatable.
Yeah.
When DA is like locked in, it's hard to compare him with anybody that I've ever seen or covered. Like incredible what he can do. And when he doesn't care, he
it's obvious to everyone watching.
It's like Adrian. It's like it's like if that were you or me that had that kind of body and skill set. Oh, it's like would I be coming off my 7th NBA championship right now? Probably. I don't know, but I don't know. That is tough. I wish we could extract that talent level out of him that everybody obviously saw. Phoenix saw when they drafted him, but
I love how you said the word extract because I want to extract value.
I do too. And so we need to sit the man because, yeah, anytime it was a hamstring, right?
Calf.
A calf. I mean, I'm sorry.
The initial concern was that it was an Achilles, so it's a good thing that it was just a calf.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The calf is right. It's like the kissing cousin to the Achilles. So I think don't mess with it. Just I think he showcased enough, honestly.
Yeah,
that he can make an impact on a team that maybe can talk themselves into like, well, we can change his attitude or whatever. But
it's just that he's earning 35 million next year. It is expiring though, so
sure, you can move. We can move off that. It'd be fine. And they, 34 mil. I know he'd re-sign for something, but that's like the new or like the old 20 mil, right? I mean, 30 mil isn't as scary as it used to.
Well, yeah, when you've got was it Luka? Luka, if he'd stayed in Dallas, would have been up for a 5-year, $345 million deal. $345 million. That's kind of just under $70 million a year.
Insane. Could you imagine? Like
$70 million.
Yeah. And now that's off the table. He can't get that.
Yeah, you can't get that. So,
he can't get that.
He looked pretty upset at those Lakers introduction press conferences. He looked like he was miserable.
I think he was. I think he's put on a good face, and he probably, after the press conference, he's put on a good face, and he gets to play with LeBron. But yeah, I don't think he's.
And they have to re-sign him as well. So I mean, I think Dallas was stupid, but I think
the Lakers
have to re-sign him.
That seemed like, and I don't want this to sound like offensive or something, but like where it's like Pelinka like had something on Nico, like he knew about some dark secret. And called
they're old buddies, apparently. I mean, if you believe they're old buddies, and somehow Pelinka convinced him not to go shop him, which is just unheard of.
The Lakers, I bet if you had everyone, because everyone would have given an offer, right? I bet the Lakers would have probably had the 20th best offer. Like I wouldn't have been anywhere near the top of that.
And now, and when Paul, like Davis played really well in the first half of that game, and then did his groin, but like,
and then
I wonder what the Blazers offer for Luka would have been. You'd have to give up Denny, I think.
Yeah,
you'd have to give up Denny. You'd have to give up Tumani. You'd have to give up.
Yeah. Do you keep Sharp or?
I don't think you can give away all of them. I think I don't think the Mavs would have gotten it. Would have.
Do you say, okay, you go to them and say, look, you get 2 out of the 4. And I know you're down on Scoot, but you say 2 out of the 4. Scoot, Denny, Sharp, Tumani. So the Mavericks pick 2 out of those 4.
You can have Scoot and you can have.
I think they take Tumani.
Scoot and Tumani. Yep. But again, I don't think they say yes to that. But I think Scoot and Tumani.
And then you throw in. Like what? Then you get to that next group of the Simons, Grant, Rob, Ayton.
Yeah, because you need salary. You need salary. And they've already got PJ Washington, so you don't do that. You probably because they need guards. So although Anthony and Kyrie is kind of.
Oh yeah, that might be a little redundant.
I think they don't need any more centers. That's for sure. They've got Lively, although they're all injured, but they've got Lively and they've got Gafford.
Well, then you might have to do Denny. He might have to be in there too. It might have to be 3 out of the 4.
No, you keep Denny and Shaden as hard as it would be to part with Tumani.
Yeah, you keep Denny and Shaden, and then obviously it's like 4 pick. Like it has to be 4 first rounders. Like that's like the standard, right? Like that's like automatic.
Well, only if not if you're giving them AD. You only need 1.
It's crazy to me. It's like 1 that it should be like for Luka 4 first rounders, 3 swaps. Like it's that's.
Max Christie has been playing really well.
Yeah, he's not bad. He definitely he wasn't just like a salary filler or random. Like Christie does play well, but not enough to swing it for like multiple first round picks.
I just remember sitting. I think there was a Blazer game on at the time, and seeing that Shams.
Yes.
Going, this is real. Like
yes, it was the Phoenix game, and I remember like they were telling.
That's right.
Like, I think that's when I heard it. No, my phone. It was like the fantasy basketball app. I think was the first thing to notify me, and I looked, and I was like, "What?" And I was covering the game, and then Lamar on the broadcast, like him and Kevin talked about it.
Well, the game was over, so that was more interesting than
than the actual game itself. I was like, "Did that? No way!" But I don't know, Adrian. It's all wild. When that comes out, I'll watch that documentary for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend. Hey, thanks for jumping back at the roundtable with me as my first episode in a while. So I appreciate it.
Congrats on the new arrival as well.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, for Corey, Adrian, this is the Rip City Roundtable podcast. As always, you catch us Rogue Media Network doing a bunch of sports things. So listen to all the shows, catch us on YouTube, all the stuff, and catch the game. I guess by the time this episode comes out, we will have known if we beat the Lakers or not. So let's hoping for a loss, Adrian, so we can get the odds up. All right, buddy. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks,